a throw the ball league, obviously, and most offenses pass a lot more than they run. Let me put it that way, because if you look at the running backs in the NFL, I think there's only 8 to 10 really good running backs, and then there's other teams where the running position, and it's more about the wide receivers. Because if you look at great running backs in the NFL, Eddie Lacy, Adrian Peterson, Arian Foster, Marshawn Lynch, there's a top class. I mean, Jamal Charles, obviously. There's a top class that are clearly above the rest. But with wide receivers, now they are as important, if not more important, than the running backs. So that's why you see these big contracts with, Demaryius Thomas and Dez Bryant getting this huge money, because a star wide receiver is a huge, huge thing that you need to be, or not to be, a championship contender. Because Demaryius Thomas Demaryius Thomas more than Dez Bryant is an unbelievable wide receiver. I think Dez Bryant he's also a great wide receiver, but I think Demaryius Thomas is well ahead of him just because he has Peyton Manning as his quarterback too. Mm-hmm. So I think this is shifting the spending of the NFL to mostly quarterbacks and wide receivers. I don't think if you look at quarterbacks, they're just getting ridiculous, curving that way for the past 5 to 10 years now. It's become much more of a pass-heavy kind of game, and that's why I think you see these big contracts. Because AJ Green came out and thanked Demaryius Thomas for getting a huge contract, because then he knows that sets the standard elite wide receivers should be getting. So I know I've been kind of going on about this, but basically these two contracts prove the importance of elite wide receivers. And are they worth that much money? It's hard to say because it's a ridiculous amount of money, but I think that they are worth that to their respective teams, obviously, because they're getting these contracts. But as Brian, so yeah, that pretty.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I have to agree. I think that first of all, I think this is changing the market. It's a very hot commodity, having that number one wide receiver. You look at most of the teams that are winning Super Bowls now, sure, they've got running games, but most of them focus on having that number one target. You can go with the Seahawks and say, all right, no. But you see the Patriots, they've got a great quarterback and they've got a great tight end to throw to. You look at what the Packers did, they were definitely a throw-first team. The Saints, of course, as well. You need an elite quarterback, and most teams need an elite wide receiver. And I think that's something that the Seahawks actually lacked last year. And one of the reasons I think they, at the end of the day, couldn't end it on a high note. Sure, they had their shot. But I think it would have been a much better and much easier game for them had they had that elite target. So I do think that this is definitely shifting in that direction. And I think it's going to definitely impact the wide receiver market. And NFL spending as a whole, like you said, running backs are no longer quite as important. You have a good O-line, and any running back almost will work. And that makes it so, you have guys who aren't necessarily great who are there. You can get a guy like the Patriots, you don't even have to have great players. Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen, as long as they take off some of the pressure from the quarterback, they're good. They're good enough. And you can win a Super Bowl with that. So I think this just shows how it's shifting. And you look at it, even when you look at like dynasty leagues or keeper leagues in fantasy football, the wide receiver is always the most consistent position. Because a running back, there's so much contingent on it. Of course, as a wide receiver, you have to have a good quarterback. But even if you're a great running back, you have a bad O-line, you can struggle a lot. Even if you have a good O-line, you get a lot more wear and tear on you. So wide receivers have become this, I wouldn't say the replacement to the running back, but they are now the most important position after the quarterback on offense, at least. All right, so that's about it. Once again, once we get a little bit closer to preseason football and into NCAA football, which is coming up, we're going to have the release of the AP polls pretty soon. And that'll be when we really get into some great stuff. But nonetheless, that is all we've got for today. So, David, any last words?
Not a lot. That's sort of a sinking ship of despair here in Boston. Bottom of the AL East right now, but hopefully they can get some pitchers maybe at the trade deadline, maybe make a little run, but I think it's it's pretty much a lost cause. So I'm looking forward to watching some good baseball end of the year, not just with the Red Sox, but with teams like the Royals and the Cardinals. And as you said, football season's coming. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a great season in both college football and in the NFL. So I'm looking forward to those coming up.
Yeah. Well, here in Chicago, we've got the Cubbies who are doing pretty well, so there is hope on that side. South side, not so much. Let's just ignore that completely. But nonetheless, definitely excited for football season. Headed down to Mizzou, excited for some SEC football. I'm also an Ohio State fan, so the shot to repeat is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Just overall, very excited. Packers, of course, as well. This time we're hosting the Seahawks. So I'm very excited. Nonetheless, it's been a great show. We hope everybody out there enjoyed. Before we continue, make sure to go like National Sports on Spreaker. Go like Infinity Sports on Spreaker. There you can find a lot of the different shows that have been going on. Follow National Sports or like us on Facebook. Like Infinity Sports on Facebook. There's just so much. I'm rattling it off. Follow me on Twitter at Noah Taborda. In general, if you follow me, message me about all the rest of the stuff, and I'll tell you. There's just way too much to rattle off at this point. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday night. Enjoy the British Open if you're watching it. Enjoy Summer League if you're watching it. Whatever you're enjoying in sports, hope you enjoy it. Have a great rest of your night. For David Korzanowski, I'm Noah Taborda. This has been Korzo and Taborda.
Me and my niggas tryna get it, yeah bitch. Yeah bitch, hit that house, they tell me is you with it.